remember when, right after I had my surgery, it was 10 days after my surgery, so I was just coming off the liquid and the pureed foods when I had to fly to Florida to be with little Robert.
Yeah, that was hard.
It was difficult because all of a sudden I'm in a hotel room and I have to figure out what I can eat. I go over to their house during the day and I fix something for Robert to eat, but I have to figure out what I can eat. And sometimes it was just a scrambled egg or a hard-boiled egg.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to stick with everything so severely, because after having had the lap band, I understood that you can't start the solid food like you think you can a week early.
Yeah.
And so I was really being very, very strenuous with my diet. I went to the store and got yogurt to keep it, and applesauce, and little packets of tuna, and I had those to carry with me. And my daughter-in-law kept applesauce and peanut butter and pudding cups. So, I was getting enough food. The trouble was getting the protein that I needed,
right?
Because it was really difficult. So after the first week I was there, I was able to start on solids. So I jump in the rental car and I go down the road looking at the fast food places and restaurants, thinking, what can I get to take back the hotel room? Lo and behold, there was Boston Market. I pulled in there and I got a child's plate with meatloaf and mashed potatoes. It made me 2 meals, real easy meals, and I was like, this is my go-to. This is my go-to. And so I had to start thinking outside the box. So all of you folks out there that travel, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
I kept cheese sticks, and I kept a soft, turkey that was soft. So
like deli meat.
Deli meat that was really soft. Things like that I could eat that first week of solid foods. But, of course, I craved a hamburger.
Yeah.
And what did I do?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. But I didn't eat the bun. I just took a bite.
But did you get sick?
No, I didn't.
Really?
It was toward the end of the first week.
Yeah.
And I was so hungry. So I went to Whataburger. No, it wasn't. It was Burger King. Got a burger, tossed the bun, and rolled it up like a taco. Of course, I could only eat 2 or 3 bites.
Yeah.
But it satisfied that hunger. And, of course, 2 hours later, I was, eating a bowl of yogurt to hold me through the night. But it was hard. And I know with you're trying to feed a family of kids.
That especially was a difficult transition for me, because they couldn't, eat necessarily what I was eating, and I couldn't eat what they were eating. And so I was making sometimes 3-4 meals every time. And there's a lot of people out there who've had the surgery that don't have kids, don't have families, and don't have to worry about that. But for me, that was the biggest struggle, because here my kids are wanting ramen noodles and potato chips, and I'm eating things like, ricotta cheese and things like that. So once the initial soft foods kind of waned, during soft foods I ate a lot of grits with shrimp soup on them, and I ate a lot of refried beans and things like that. And I would make things kind of like the meatloaf and things like that I could eat and that the family would eat too. But most of the time I was making more meals than I needed to. And really now looking back on it, hindsight's 20/20. Now of course I know ways to get around that, but then it was definitely a struggle.
Well, and that's something that we didn't have any written material to help us with, and we're hoping that we're going to be able to put that together for the new patient so that they can have some ideas of what is palatable, what has the protein, and what won't cause you to throw up.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the things that, you did not want to do at all.
Yeah, and that's something that we kind of stay away from talking about on screen most of the time because we're cooking. But that's something that's actually a very real problem is,
yes.
A lot of us will get sick after we eat just because we eat too much or we eat the wrong things that we're just not ready to tolerate yet.
And we're still struggling with the chew, chew, chew. And
yes.
that was one thing that they impressed on us before the surgery with both the lap band and
the sleeve. And really, it goes across the board. Anybody who has had any kind of weight loss surgery, from the lap band to the gastric bypass to the sleeve to even the newer ones that are coming out like the plication, they are also told, the chew, chew, chew. So,
and that's a new concept for us fat girls because
we
ate, we didn't chew, we just swallowed.
Inhaled.
And I've seen the grandkids take about take a bite and swallow it whole. And now I can't do that. If I feel something going down that's a little bit big, it really kind of concerns me. I'm thinking, uh-oh, I'm going to be in pain. And sometimes I am in pain after.
And that, and usually not so much when you're on the clear liquids and the full liquids, but it becomes a problem when you start to transition into real food, eating the soft foods, eating the solid foods, because our bodies, the way somebody explained it to me is that our tummies are like a baby's tummies.
Brand new
and
tummy.
We have to completely retrain our tummies how to handle food. And so a lot of times people will try to eat something like rice on soft foods. And I mean, for some patients it works, but I know specifically for lap band patients and for sleeve patients, it doesn't work very well.
No, I know one night my daughter-in-law had put chicken breast in with chicken soup and rice in a crock pot that morning and cooked it. And she said, you can eat that because it was soft. And so I took one bite, and I knew I couldn't do it. I knew I couldn't do it. And someone who hasn't had surgery, for them, what's soft is not soft for us.
Right.
That's just the way it is.
Right, exactly.
And we have to remember that soft foods are just like when you're moving the baby up to where he's handling his first finger foods.
Yes.
And the great thing is today, there are the little packets of pureed vegetables and fruit that turned out a fantastic thing because they have applesauce and broccoli and different flavors.
And that's a great thing to use because I know a lot of people that have a hard time eating actual vegetables.
Right.
And so if you are struggling getting vegetables in, because even though we have to have high protein, we still got to get those veggies in too. So even though we're having those problems, that's a great solution to that.
It was great when Adrian, your sister-in-law, had the surgery on her esophagus, and she called me and she says, "What can I eat? All my mom's fixing for me is mashed potatoes." And I said, "Go to the baby food section and get you some pureed foods."
Exactly.
And she said, "Well, I've got some here for the baby." And I said, "Get
there you
started,
go.
do it." And they did not tell her that she needed to retrain her esophagus. So when I flew up there, went with her to the surgeon's office, I asked him, "Why didn't you tell her that she had to eat with a small spoon, take small bites, that she couldn't continue eating like she was?" And he said, "Well, I thought her gastroenterologist would tell her." Well, the gastro had sent her to the surgeon. It's like, who's passing the buck here?
Yeah.
And I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "I'm going to write a book, and you're going to get a copy of it," and he is. Because that's just wrong. It's not a go sick 'em,
Right.
This is something that is very, very important that people learn this process so that they don't get in trouble down the road.
Right.
Don't fall back into bad habits. It takes 21 days to change a habit. Well, from the time you have the surgery till the time you start on solid foods and are really able to eat a meal is about 21 days.
And sometimes more in some cases.
Yes, and in certain instances, people are halfway through starting on pureed or semi-soft foods, and they suddenly discover that it's not working. They have to go back and give it more time. And that's okay, folks. Don't expect it to be by the book. It's not.
Yep, it never will be.
No. We'd like to think that everything it comes and goes in 6 weeks of healing. You know, they always say, well, it takes a full 6 weeks after major surgery. Well, you're having major dadgum surgery. Just because they're doing it laparoscopically doesn't mean they're not removing a large organ from your body.
Right.
Your body is stressed. You have to take care of it.
Yep.
Make sure during those times that you figure out which vitamins you can take. If you have to take a children's liquid vitamin, take a children's liquid vitamin. I took a liquid calcium and liquid vitamins. You know, yeah, hold your nose, take it, you know. But don't back off on any of the things the doctors have told you. I know it's limited, but do everything they tell you to do.
Yeah.
The soft foods were not really a difficult thing for me to come up with because I could eat chili, I could eat meatloaf, grits and shrimp soup. I didn't put the shrimp in it, but it was grits and shrimp.
And I think a lot of people kind of shy away from certain things when they move to the soft foods because...
Well, they're afraid. They think they have to get all their protein at every meal, and
Right.
until your stomach is healed.
Protein is important. It is very important.
But it's one of the harder things to digest.
But you can also get it from, you know, people don't think of things like beans.
Right.
And they don't think of things like chilies. And they don't think of things like, you know, softer fish, and things like that. So.
Well, and two, I had made up my mind that I was going, and a lot of people feel that they have to take the protein drink through the whole thing.
Yes. There are lots of people who drink protein drinks for the whole thing.
It had already started making me sick to take it. I could not take it.
I can't tolerate them
at
this point either.
I had to go with food. And that first 10 days, the first 10 days I was in Florida, I was down there 17 days. And in 10 days, I lost 17 pounds.
Wow.
And in the next 7 days, I lost another 10 pounds. And everybody goes, yay, that's great. No, it wasn't. It was fast. I was exhausted. When I got on the plane to come back to Dallas, and got to Dallas and got off the plane, and my husband was there, and he goes, I don't even know who you are. And I said, I'm sorry, I've lost 27 pounds since I've been gone. And I went that next week into the doctor's office, and she just got me good. What did you do? I said, I was eating all the time. I just couldn't tolerate the protein drinks. So, and there's egg protein, there's whey protein, there's soy protein. You know, they've come up with all kinds of synthetic things, and it just wouldn't work. So by then, that weight was gone. I was stabilizing. I was able to get in the soft protein from the meat, and so I was, within a week or two, I was bouncing back and doing really well. So, but I know my story is not unusual. I'm sure there's other out there that
absolutely
same thing.
Absolutely, I think everybody has gone through similar experiences at some point in time or another, and so that's why I think that it's important for us to remind people that we're here. We've been through it. We've been through exactly what you've been through.
Well, and I've been through 2 surgeries. I was lap band,
yeah, exactly,
and then the sleeve. And basically, the first month is the same.
Yeah,
I think
it's pretty much the same across the board.
The sleeve, for me, I did get something stuck once, and that was not a fun time.
I don't know necessarily that I've gotten things stuck, but it's
just uncomfortable.
More like you eat too much, and the sliming is still the same.
Yeah,
it's that's actually something that happens with both the lap band and the sleeve is the sliming.
And
again, the TMI subject that we can't talk about in the kitchen.
But we feel like it's important enough to talk about it here because, body functions change, and it's unique to these surgeries, the changes that you go through. On one of the forums, we talk about everything from gas to bowel movements. But it does. Your whole body changes.
It does. It really does.
And sometimes,
and that's why the phases are so
right.
different.
And that's why it's so important to go through those steps and stick with them, even if you stick with them a little bit longer. If you think, well, I'm just not ready for solids.
That's okay.
It's better
it
to
is
not.
Okay.
But don't go to ice cream and things like that to solve your hunger.
Yeah, because that will do nothing good for you at all.
No, in fact, very rarely do I have a spoonful of ice cream. I still have an issue with the lactose.
Yeah,
and
a lot of people do. Even
lactose-free. A lot of times lactose-free will have real sugar in it. So finding the sugar-free is a trick for me. I have learned to make some really good sherbets, homemade sherbets. We're going to share those with y'all this summer.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of things like that are, you may want to invest in some things where you probably haven't wanted a kitchen appliance in a while. You may decide you want to invest in some simply because it makes your life a little bit easier.
It's well worth the investment for sure.
So we hope we can make your transition easier than what we had, because we have some information to give somebody that we didn't get.
Exactly. And we've been there and we've been through it, and we've talked to lots of people that have been through other situations too. So don't forget that if you have any questions or comments, you can always comment here on YouTube, leave us a comment on our Facebook page, or you can even send us an email, and all those links are going to be in the description. So thank you guys so much once again for joining us on our journey. You guys are just so amazing. Somebody told me the other day that we're inspirational. I want you guys to know that you're inspirational too. You guys are what keeps us going and keep us doing this. So thank you guys so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you haven't already, share us with everybody you know, because it really helps us out. So
hang around, see what we're going to be up to after a while.
See ya.